Welcome to the Palm Beach Casino for the PartyPoker World Open VI. We've reached the sharp end of the action and our champions table continues. From a field of 48 world-class players, 7 sat down at the final table, all hoping to see their name written on the winner's check for an incredible $200,000 and, of course, be crowned champion. We've already had some amazing play here in London, so before we get down to the table, let's have a look at the action so far.
Well, he's called it with 2-8.
Oh my gosh.
So that's going to do it for Dale Hoy, and he's going to go home and be talking to himself. Why did I play those 8s that strong?
I love John Duthie.
Now
I love him this way.
I would throw the 2 9s away now. And you just have to salute a guy for getting outplaying you. It's just that simple, folks.
Yep, Toby's a genius.
It's part of the game, isn't it? I really don't have much of an option.
Wow! I think he's re-raised. Oh my gosh.
All in. And he went all in.
Oh my God.
It just is amazing, folks, how good this kid is.
Great start for Sam Trickett so far. It's only been a level and a half, 683,000 out in the lead. Timoshenko and Toby Lewis, these young guns playing fine. And for the others, John Duthie's had one foot on a block of ice and the other in the alligator's mouth.
But that's the sort of thing.
He is
Kind of thought he was bluffing
in a
the
bit
whole
of trouble.
hand.
Playing lots of hands.
Yeah, I know, but then so I thought about flatting, but I just...
Joined here by Mike Sexton and Phil Laak in the
So much
box.
money
This
in the
has
middle,
been
isn't it?
fun so far.
He's basically screaming. He could have showed me aces, but
It's folded around to Toby Lewis.
I'll get there.
On the button, he looks down at 2 queens, big hand.
On the button, it's a glorious time to get these big hands
I'll
because
get there.
people don't believe you there.
Well, this could do it for Robl.
He's got sloppy chips. He's on tilt. This could be ugly.
Oh, he's definitely going to raise. I mean, how can you not raise?
He's going to get ping ponged here by by Team Great Britain.
Yeah, as you said.
First Trickett bluffs him, then Lewis stuffs him.
That was good.
He just calls here.
That's
That's a little shocking.
That's
to me.
I would have
Sure.
raised. I would have raised. It's funny. I would have raised and folded to a re-raise. That's the sick thing.
Now Timoshenko's going to come in this pot
For
with
sure.
2 deuces. He's getting the right price to come into it.
I mean, it's possible
It's an easy hand to play. You flop a deuce,
Yeah.
or you don't invest any more money. Just that simple.
got to be impressed by Robl just calling there. It's almost like he said to himself, they know I'm on tilt. So
Right.
I think the pot's going to be big. I just have that feeling.
All 3 players have pairs. That's something you don't see very often pre-flop.
Button in the blinds.
Oh! It's come
Quads,
queen,
full
queen,
house.
9.
Oh my God.
Goodbye, Andrew Robl.
Wow.
Nice having you here, but
0%.
It's such a hard place to
Some
be drawing
days-
your
It's
head
so
from,
hard
isn't
to
it?
flop a full house and be 0%. It's really, really
Wow.
hard. They're both trying to figure out how can I get all the money in. And by the way, Lewis is thinking he has to be bluffing, right? Because when you have quads, you have all cards locked up.
Robl leads right out and bets a full house.
Playing it like,
Well, that's something I would never do in this spot to a pre-flop raiser. I'd let him take 1 stab to bluff at it. Now, obviously, Lewis is thinking he's died and gone to heaven here or something. He just can't believe
but he's
what's
also
happened.
thinking it's got to be a bluff or an ace-9. It just so
You're
he's
just going to call. You're never
yeah,
going to
he's
raise
never
this
going to
spot.
raise. He's never raising this. I mean, it would just be a horrible play.
Until he's last man, last action, probably before he's going to get any bets in this pot.
Yep. And look at it.
Continue to throw the rope.
These guys are just incredible.
Well,
I mean,
well,
he's
that just
done
shows
that
you.
so it doesn't look. I mean, what are they
he
thinking?
raised?
Yeah, why do you raise there?
Well, he's raised here.
I think this is a bad play, but amazingly, it's going to be the perfect play because you get all the money in now. Because
Well, Phil, I mean, isn't it that he's raised here because he's reckoned that Robl will never put him on a strong hand if he does? I mean, it's that.
No,
the
sort
point
of
is,
level.
looks like an ace
raising
queen.
here, you shut the guy out of a straight draw in case he had a jack 10. It
you
makes
know
no
he
sense
can't,
to me. He
it's-
doesn't have a queen.
It's wrong. It just has to be wrong. You can't let the guy bluff anymore because he can't have it.
He's got the only hand he's going to continue to play.
He's just getting very lucky that the guy.
He's got the only hand he's going to continue to play. 9's full. Robl is just very happy
Yep.
that the guy's raised him.
But he's going to probably call because in the end you think if he has a queen he'll bet the turn, no problem. So he's just going to call.
I got to tell
Am
you.
I right? He just called. Yeah. In the end, because it's too big a hand. I think Robl's played it right.
Both players are liable to not even get all their chips in there. They're going to try to out-slow play each other from here out.
Mike, that would be.
This is unbelievable.
That would be amazing.
Wouldn't shock me if it goes check, check on the turn.
Well, I think what's clear is that both these players actually think the other guy has nothing. And they're trying to
right.
That's their positive. I mean, is it
Robles is hoping that Lewis has a queen. That's what he's hoping for, but he doesn't feel it in his bones yet. So he's
because there is a level here among these young guys on that paired board to the raise that Robl's trying to represent a lead with air, and Lewis is trying to represent the pre-flop raiser raising him with air.
Yep, and I think given the way the hand's gone, Toby has to fire like 50 or something right here.
Well, I just can't believe he's betting this hand. In case your opponent's got a straight draw, why would you want to shut him out?
Robles is thinking Christmas time, but it's not Christmas time. It's coal in the stockings time. I stole a phrase out of your book. That was you, Jesse. That was you. No, I can't.
Robl obviously trying to decide. The bet's 60. Do you go all in? Do you raise? Do you just check and lead the river? What's the best way? What does he think Lewis has here? What would Lewis play like this? Obviously, a queen.
I'm in shock he raised him on the flop. I mean, that's the first thing. I would have never thought the guy's going to make a
on
call.
the flop. That was, I think, horrible.
Looks like a horrible play.
In hindsight, these will be the worst 7 minutes he spent on his trip to London when he got out-flopped by quads.
He'll be looking at on the airplane ride home in his mind, too.
Oh, boy. Toby, on the other hand.
Still just flat calling.
Well, they're just calling here.
Because he's thinking my opponent might be bluffing.
That's what it has to be. That's what it has to be.
The only thing would make it worse if a 9 comes up on the river.
Right.
Oh, my God.
That was sick.
Can you believe this?
Oh, my Lord. That is so
over quads.
sick. I can't believe that.
It's kind of unfair.
Oh, my Lord. So now he's like,
oh, my God.
He's like, wow, my opponent can't have queen 9. Hopefully he has queen 5,
Well, Toby must be thinking, geez, what can this guy have to be calling with all this way?
One thing we know for sure, just in case he checks it, he is going to get a wager.
I don't believe I've ever seen this before.
No, me either. This is a first for me. 10 years of cards.
Well, he's moved all in and quickly called and let Robl turn up his hand first. 4 9s against 4 queens. Look at Timoshenko's face.
Look at Toby Lewis. Look at
Timoshenko. Look at Timoshenko. Look at Timoshenko. Look at Timoshenko.
That might be the most weirdly played hand in history of poker. One of them, certainly. The whole crowd is just completely shocked.
Andrew Robl has left the building. Timoshenko has never
That
seen
says it all right there. Timoshenko's face.
Well, in many casinos, that would be worth a 7-figure bad beat payout.
Oh, my Lord.
Well, he knows this guy re-raised him on the flop with 4 queens.
Yeah.
That is astonishing.
Yeah. That's why no one can put him on 4 queens.
So just 5 in now, playing for that $200,000 first prize. Andrew Robl out in 6th. $20,000. Have you ever tasted sawdust?
We've lost Andrew in dramatic fashion as well. What an ugly hand that was.
Yeah, it was quite the ugly hand. Like I said when I was playing, I thought it was my flop, Flop a full house, other guy flops quads. Some chips go in, and then I river quads. So in my head, I think I'm always good. I go all in, I get insta called, and I'm happy.
Yeah.
And then the guy's like, I have quads, and I'm like, oh my God. So fortunately, I wasn't playing online. I could have won like the bad beat jackpot. Got a few $100,000 for my beat, but.
Yeah, would your laptop have been like right across the room at that point?
Yeah, it would have been over. But what can you do?
Welcome back. We've lost 2 players, but 5 remain here at the Palm Beach Casino for the final of the PartyPoker World Open VI. Let's get down to the table.
Well, Andrew Robl, $20,000. He's not going to feel like that's worth much right now, is he?
He's got a lifetime story, Jesse.
Yes, he does.
That alone is worth the price of where he finishes today.
You're right about that.
20 years from now, 40 years from now, when he's in the rocking chair on his porch,
Every time he sees Toby
gonna
Lewis.
I could have won the World Poker Open, I lost with quads over quads. Never going to forget that hand as long as it is.
I'll tell you what, you were talking about the scream that was going to come from. I think he managed to get up and out pretty quick because he just, I mean, he must have been seeing colors. He must have felt faint.
Well, probably the only thing that would have made that hand worse for him had he flopped the 4 queens and then lost the 4 queens on the river.
Right.
But as it was, he was drawing dead from the get-go, so it's really not much of a bad beat story.
Right.
I'd say one thing could have made it worse.
Right, he was beating all 4 streets. Yeah, right, I forgot.
He was
There was never one moment he was ahead.
It was not a bad beat.
Yeah, what's he complaining about? He never had the best hand.
Should have passed before the flop.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, that was amazing.
Well, Sam Trickett re-raising with the famed Doyle Brunson hand, the 10 deuce of spade. Incredibly, that hand named after Doyle Brunson because he won the final hand of the championship event of the World Series of Poker 2 years in a row with that hand and won both pots with it. Now, first, you scratch your head, how could a guy get into pot with 10 deuce? How could it win twice in a row? And how could he get all the guys' money with it? But it happened twice in a row, 1976 and 1977. So the 10 deuce will forever be known as the Doyle Brunson.
The stacks right now are Toby has 660 about, and Sam has 708, and then Yevgeny's got 350, Juha's got 235, just drifting slowly down, and John Duthie's trying to get it going with 150 or so.
Well, Juha picks up a nice hand, ace king.
10.
Makes it 10,000 to go.
Pass.
Five-handed, you're hoping that somebody re-raises with because I mean they can have ace queen if they re-raise or.
You know,
I would flat with jack 9 here, suited. Would you, Mike?
Marginal, I wouldn't mind. Well, by calling here, you entice the blinds to come in where you're really going to get a price on your money.
Right, and you want that, yeah.
Cool.
In your mind, you got to hit a hand to win this pot, so why not get more value by letting these guys come in?
I like what
Trickett didn't call that
Right.
for 6,000.
Right.
That really blows my mind.
I really don't
gotta
get
say the
that. It's a perfect kind of spot. You're closing the betting.
truth. We would have flopped an open end straight, but Timoshenko has flopped a flush draw.
Check.
Very
These
careful
two-
play, us. Yeah, I'm going to see bet that.
well, these guys have history.
You're always suspicious why the guy didn't make a continuation bet here,
15.
Right.
where he's going to re-raise you right now, but you've got a hand that can stand a re-raise because you flopped the flush draw.
Juha really plays careful.
answer me
And
now?
you know what? That means you
Can
can
you answer
never
me
blow
now?
up.
I don't actually know. I should have counted. I don't know.
Check fold with the ace king. No continuation bet. It shows you the kind of respect that he gives Timoshenko.
Yeah.
I think I have been playing the best poker of my life this year. The funny thing is that I've actually been losing most of the time. I've had a few cashes, but I'm losing in tournaments this year. And I think I'm down a bit in cash games too. Could be a first losing year for me, although I think I'm playing my best game. But I've been really running bad in all the important coin flips. To win this event would be really nice because I have many major second places. I already have a pretty nice bankroll, so 200,000 wouldn't change that, but it would of course help. It would make my year a plus side now instead of minus, so it would be nice doing this as a profession. I need to make money, otherwise I will run dry one day. Nowadays I don't play as much poker as I used to, especially online. I don't have that much time to play because I have 2 kids and a wife. So when I'm back home I spend most of my time with my kids and just enjoy life, but when I'm traveling I play poker, live poker, and when I'm not playing live poker I play online poker, so it's all about work when I'm actually working.
I like Duthie's thinking a little bit. Duthie's thinking these guys are willing. I mean, we're watching monster pots left and right. Duthie's like hanging back. He's thinking maybe I'll just squeeze my way into 3rd place. He could do it with the action we've been seeing.
Ace 8. Pass.
Trickett going
These
to raise
guys
it
are-
right up front with a 6-5 of hearts there. Toby faced with a tough decision.
I don't think any of these guys are trying to ladder their way in. They're all trying to win it, if I had to guess.
Toby going to make the call with the ace-4 spade.
Yep, I think that's a good call.
In position.
Not scared to take on the only stack at the table that can hurt him.
Strangely, I believe I like the ace-4 fold that's not suited. If I was Duthie there, I would raise with that stack, though. I think that's
and be prepared to commit.
Yeah, want to commit.
Right.
You're 8s, 7s, and 6s.
It was just the min raise up front.
I don't think he's acted yet, actually. I think he was just looking at his cards.
No, but Trickett made a minimum raise.
Oh, okay. He hasn't acted. That's
Lewis
great.
called. It's only 4,000.
Yep. Cool.
And he's just called. The one thing about Duthie, it's like you said, he gets big hands. He plays them slow.
Yep.
He gets nothing hands and he plays them
Ninth
fast.
is a very vulnerable holding.
Oh, nice flop for Duthie there.
Nice flop for everybody.
And everybody got a piece of it. Duthie's got the overpair with 2 9s. Trickett, the pre-flop raiser, has an open-end straight draw, and he's going to make a continuation bet here. Lewis has second pair with top kicker. What do you do if you're him?
Well, if I was Lewis, I would call, and then obviously fold to the inevitable re-raise from Duthie.
You know, Duthie's sitting on 150K stack. I mean, it's going to be a big re-raise. Is it too much to get in right now?
28.
Toby Lewis has raised it with the 2 4s.
I still think this is
Nines
not a time to be afraid.
Really? I mean, if you stick 150,000 in it, if you're Duthie, you can never get action from a hand you beat, can you?
I don't think you can put Lewis on the overpair here because he didn't raise pre-flop.
Right.
So you put him on a pair of 8s, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
I think with 2 9s, you got to go with the hand, and he's
would,
doing it. He's going all in right here.
I think this is absolutely the right play. And, you know, if the guy has 10s, whatever, you're out. It's like,
Yeah, you just have to do it.
sometimes you
You
have
can't
to
fold and you can't call, so you better go all in.
Yeah, it's that. You can't fold, you can't call, so you just take the least of the painful routes, which is go all in. And it might be wrong, but it's right. It happens to be right.
Well, there's no way Lewis is going to put him on a big pair here either.
If you didn't want to make a tough decision, you should have re-raised pre-flop. But Duthie doesn't mind the tough
Yeah,
decisions.
he doesn't. He welcomes that.
Yeah, so Lewis going out. So John Duthie taking down that pot.
Nice, John Duthie.
Go
With
on,
the 2
Mr.
9s.
Big. Go on, Mr. Big.
And that actually puts him up. He was at 150 for a while. Now he's at 220.
You're right. He's increased his stack by quite a bit.
Duthie went all in. Ruined my plan. I had big plans for that hand.
I bet you did.
I had massive plans.
I had plans as well.
Could have been a really exciting hand, actually.
Duthie really is, I'm learning,
You
just the
ruined
opposite man. He's saying, I had a huge draw. He had a hand. When he has a hand, he checks. When he has nothing, he bets. It's like he's the ultimate opposite man. Now, whether or not he neural nets that into his game when we're at a game, that's another thing to be said. But I'm have to go with tendencies and assume that he's just the opposite man.
Cool.
Pass.
It's a battle of the blinds here.
I forgot what the blinds are. Oh, 10.
Raise to 10.
Yeah.
He's going to
See,
make
he
a
has a
10th
oh,
out.
that's interesting. He called, and he doesn't
You've
have.
got loads of chips you can call easily.
I've been too nitty
I
to
know.
call, but
Trickett does make the call with the king 10 of spade. He has Duthie dominated at the moment. But let's see what happens here. Well, it's come queen 8-7. Duthie now has the lead with the 2 8s.
And he
quickly checks.
Duthie,
Very peculiar.
yeah.
He raised pre-flop and just immediately checks with the 1 overcard comes out.
In your
Heads up, you
estimation,
should most of the time just eliminate the top card when you're heads up with the guy and proceed from there. That's the way I like to look at these things.
what a
Now the 9 of spade
Wow.
comes off. Now we could see some fireworks.
Okay, so Trickett feels like he can't lose, even though he only has
22.
king high.
Well, Duthie has
22.
2 8s and an open-end straight draw.
And Trickett has king high but thinks he can't lose.
So now Duthie doesn't bet on this flop, and now he leads out and bets on the turn. He could well get raised out of the pot right here.
well, Mike, not only is he's bet more than the pot. He's bet 22,000 into 20. It's massive. It's a massive bet.
Well, Trickett just calls. Doesn't make the semi-bluff move there with the straight flush draw. And the king comes off. He beats him on the river. And Duthie now scratching his head trying to figure out what happened here. He's now going to check.
If I had the king 10, I would check because I feel like betting is just
Possible straight,
I don't
possible
know.
flush out there.
I would just check. Try and win it with the one pair.
I think
But this is a value genius. Yeah, this is a value genius.
I think you have to value bet here.
14.
He's bet 40,000.
And if your opponent folds, you have the joy of not showing your hand. But I'm obviously seeing that my weakness in this game is I don't value bet the river enough.
If you think about it, there's really no hand you can beat here with 2 8s.
Everything's there. Everything's gotten there.
Well, he's put him on something like the ace deuce of spade.
Yep.
Thought he had a flush draw, might be bluffing at the river. That's the only hand he can beat, essentially, is the flush draw. And he had the flush draw. Unlucky for John, he just paired kings on the river.
What a bet Sam Trickett made there.
Well,
that was an amazing value bet.
You just have to, honestly, as much as we love John Duthie, he did not play that hand well.
I'll put you on stage.
Oh, here's some stats. Sam Trickett, highly aggressive with 87%. And voluntarily putting chips into the pot pre-flop. Juha the tightest with 16, and Yevgeniy following suit with 21. Toby tight pre-flop too.
Folks, there's not many poker games where Juha Helppi plays the least hands at the table, I can tell you that. I've never seen it before.
Yeah, but him and Yevgeniy both taking the conservative approach, and it's kept them mid-stack. You know, and Timoshenko, you know, in some ways, he's yesterday's news. It's been almost a year since he won his $2 million.
That's how
and he won it when he was 21 years old.
He's getting called by the 10 Jack of Hearts.
Not often you're 22 or 23 and they call you an old guy in the poker world.
Yesterday's news. He was a man. He was 2009. That's so yesterday.
Well, Timoshenko has bet 15,000 with the 2 queens. And Trickett's going to call with the suited connectors. He's got the Jack 10 of hearts, the kind of hand everybody likes to see a flop on.
These pots just getting a little bigger now with the 3,000 and 6,000 blinds, and you know, guys like Timoshenko, he's got.
By the way, I don't want to interrupt you, Jesse, but Juha just like no thinking folded ace-9 offsuit, which is now he's sad about it, but it was the right play to just do that sort of thing. It's like.
No, he's pretty sad about it. Trickett never would have folded if the ace-9 was coming on the flop. Guarantee you that. Right, it was. He could see what was happening out there, and I say Timoshenko's made a slight progress on where he started his chips, but you know, these blinds are hurting a little bit. He's got about 60 big blinds. Doesn't really want to play a massive
Well, he
pot.
checks the 2 queens, doesn't make the continuation bet.
Now
the
we've got,
Jack of diamonds comes off. This gives Trickett 2 jacks.
And Timoshenko a flush. Well, a flush draw. Flush draw.
I think he's going to lead out and bet this time, though. He checked to sort of see if Trickett had an ace in his hand. He didn't bet, so you got to think your queens are the best hand here. Plus, you have the flush draw to back it up.
23,000.
23,000 is the bet. Now let's see if Trickett's good enough to get off jacks after his opponent checked on the flop.
Trickett's thinking here.
I was thinking he might have king queen with a diamond. 2 jacks might be the best hand. Now, how good is this, folks?
That's great. That was really, really good.
You talk about a guy
That was really good.
This guy's zoned in. Let me
Everybody else would have called. Everybody in the world. And then a couple guys would have raised and then gotten raised off the pot by Timoshenko. He's done 0.
Join us for more action from the Party Poker World Open VI after the break.
Welcome back to the final table of the World Open.
Poker players, you talk about the rush, you talk about the zone. Watching it is so incredible.
It's so sexy to watch this stuff.
The great thing about final tables, the opportunity to watch rising stars, who people are going to be talking about for years to come.
Yeah, so much talent at this table.
I think Toby will flat with his. Toby's got a pair
2
of
sixes. Yeah. Why would you flat here?
Cool.
Just because you can't get blown off the hand most of the time. You get to look at the flop, maybe hit a set and crowbar some money out of the guy.
Right, but I mean,
it's standard stuff. I mean,
starting to be sort of a big amount of money to set mine, perhaps. I don't know.
No, he's putting in around eight. Let's see,
13.
What does he have?
I guess that's 5% of 260.
fine.
So yeah.
And Helppi, who bet. I mean, if you raise and Helppi goes all in, you're just folding. It's like gross. You turned your hand into a bluff. It's a real hand. You want to look at flops, though. Duthie, don't do it, Duthie. He did it.
Yeah, but he's done it all in.
And it might work.
He's done
too.
it all in.
Although I think Lewis, 130 to 1 to call. I think Lewis is going to call.
Well, let's see what happens.
This is a classic squeeze play because you get by the first guy.
This
and it
cash
feels
behind
easy.
there, sweet. It's quite a bit more.
I think you might call too.
About 133.
I'll be honest, I didn't realise I had that much.
He's got to figure he's in a race, though. You just don't figure a guy's going to raise with 200 cards all in.
Yeah, I don't know why I did.
He got the deuce 3 through.
Well, he lays down the 2 6s, and John Duthie, there you go, my man. He's back, taking it down with the 3-2. Show it to him, John. Put him all on tilt.
Show him both of them.
Oh, man.
We're playing the game now, guys.
And
Mr. Big's in town.
Actually, to put Toby Lewis on tilt, you could just show him one.
Right. Make it seem like.
It's like double confirmation. I may get someone confused by their
Nah,
screen, but
more
that's
than put
part
the
of
other
it.
guys on tilt. I think that's given John a little bit of mojo, if you know what I mean. A little.
Well, no
your
doubt
Uncle
about
Mo.
it.
Yeah.
When you pick up a pot with a 3-deuce offsuit, you're definitely feeling better.
Blinds are 3-6, so
Raise
John, 6 to
13,000
18.
total.
30. John has 30 big blinds.
Nice. Nice.
Well, Duthie's raised a pot to 13,000 with the Queen-10 of hearts. Toby Lewis is not afraid to play a pot with Duthie. Well, at least he wasn't until that last hand he threw away. Makes the call with the ace-9 of hearts here.
I mean, effectively, Duthie had about 100 and has about 160,000. So I guess Toby's thinking, you know, I can play for it all, or
Oh, and look at this flop.
They're both
players have flopped the flush draw.
play for it all this way.
Lewis well out in front with the ace-high flush draw.
If it comes a heart, Duthie's out.
Did they both check? Wow, now
Well, 10 comes off. Duthie has taken the lead with 2 10s.
So good.
He's now got a flush draw with a pair.
super important to bet here.
I'll put a feeler bet in.
10,000.
See if you have.
And he's just getting called by Toby Lewis.
If it comes, it's over.
Oh, the beautiful card for Duthie. Not the flush, the full house card.
Now he's really hoping his opponent had something.
I think John's going to bet a lot here.
Well,
He thinks.
he's definitely going to bet.
Yep.
He's bet a lot. It's only 50,000 in the pot, Mike. He's bet more than that.
It's an overbet, so it does look like a steal when a player makes an overbet. And you see Toby Lewis
This would be a terrible call.
feeling just that. He's got the ace high. Virtually all he can beat is a bluff. But he can beat a bluff, but he lays it down.
These kids are too good. I mean, wow.
A lot of guys would have paid Duthie off the way that hand was played.
You're not going to be the sucker to pay off with quads.
Duthie actually a little bit unlucky, as it turns out, that the guy didn't raise him on the flop because Duthie would have shipped it. The guy would have called it with the ace high flush draw, and Duthie would have doubled up.
Yes.
Had he played it aggressively, but then he would have got lucky to win it.
200,000 for Duthie. And Sam Trickett still at 750. Toby dropped a little bit down to 550. And Juha basically is in the same spot as John Duthie. They both have 200 to 210.
It's another one of those cases. Duthie flopped the flush draw and check. Every time it seems like he's got a hand, he's supposed to be betting.
Yeah, he does. He's got to learn to bet his hands.
Your
and check
theory is
his-
right, the negative, whatever you called it.
The opposite man or whatever
The
it's called.
opposite man.
There's got to be a better name than opposite man. It's just
No,
that doesn't
actually, that's
sound
not
right.
bad.
It's not bad, but it's
think
not
they would like it.
perfect.
I think if you put an O on his chest and a cape on his back, opposite man would be great.
How about do it backwards, Duthie?
Do it backwards, Duthie.
Juha's raised this from the button, and Yevgeniy. Now they're very similarly stacked. No, sorry, they're not. Juha's down to 200, and
Yeah, Timoshenko's about double that with
right,
380.
right.
Well, he's just called, and he takes the conservative route.
All right. It's one of those hands where if you raise and get re-raised, you're almost always beat. So
it's also another one of those hands.
Now you're giving. Now look at this. Your opponent has an open and straight draw. Helppi likes this.
Well, had 3 baby cards come off. Helppi could have made the continuation bet and won the flop, or won the pot. Now he has the open end straight draw. Timoshenko has a bigger straight draw. It's just a gut shot, but has what we call the key card here, the ace of clubs. Well, Timoshenko has made the call with the ace jack. And a jack comes off. He now has the best hand with 2 jacks, ace kicker.
Check.
Juha will most likely check this card.
Right, because he's
once the guy's calling him on the flop, he's just not going to fall in any traps here. He thinks he might have the best hand with the 2 jacks. Happy just to check it down. And because he didn't bet there, Timoshenko's not going to put him on kings.
Even if Helppi does have kings, you could make a bet there, thinking you're not going to get raised, perhaps.
Well, Helppi might put him on a pair of 10s now.
Right, he might go for a value bet.
Well, here's a hand I think you ought to just be happy to check down. He wins it, and he does check it down, wisely so. And he's going to lose this pot because he's out kicked, as we say.
Yevgeniy says, I could have played that better. And that's the thing. These young guns, Lewis, Timoshenko, and Trickett, they want to play every hand perfect. And, well, they pretty much do.
As many good moves as Toby Lewis has made.
8, 9 of clubs.
I just can't help thinking he re-raised with 4 queens on that flop, and that puts a minus down on all them other good plays he's made in my mind. I just can't get that play out of my head. But Toby.
Let's see how he plays this ace queen. A lot of his ace queens he's just been flatting. He likes. I mean.
Well, as an overall strategy, playing a big pot with Sam Trickett, you know, why not play a small pot with him when you're holding?
Right.
So
I don't know.
Keep your big pots to the guys that can't destroy you.
Right. You come over the short stacks with the ace-5 offsuits. When you get up against big stacks, guys that can bust you, you slow down a little bit, even though you have ace-queen here.
And you would have played the ace-queen the same way on the button with Toby's stack against Sam's open? No, you would have re-raised.
I would have re-raised.
And then just take it from there. Yep.
Because the truth is, when you have an ace-queen, if you just flat call, unless you hit an ace or a queen on the flop, the guy's going to bet and just take you off the hand. You're going to be out of the pot, and if aces and queens come up and you give him action, chances are you're not going to give any more action. He's not going to give you much money in the pot.
Well, somebody kicked John Duthie under the table.
Oh my God, he's opposite man.
Just in time.
Didn't you think he was about to? Maybe that was part of Lewis's strategy, by the way, Mike, with John Duthie in the big blind, that a squeeze was possible.
Yeah, I thought so. Well, now look what's happened.
Wow.
It's come 9-8-6, and you don't take Sam Trickett off a hand. He's flopped the top 2 pair here.
Yep.
And now look what's happened. Well, Lewis is not going to lose any money in this pot anyway. Chances are Trickett's going to lead out and bet, and Lewis will be going away. But no, Trickett is going to check here. He's going to hope Lewis will just make some kind of move at this pot. Now, in my mind, that's a pretty daring check because your opponent could have 10 jack. He could have 7 in his hand, but obviously it's the right play. Once again by Sam Trickett, because I'm sure he's going to raise here, as Lewis has bet 15,000.
Mike, you're so right. It's like
could Sam Trickett take the line of, well, let me just check call, let my opponent hang himself? I mean, because it's really only 10 jack.
Zero chance. You can't do it. You can't let the guy draw the straight to beat you. Too many cards can freeze you up here.
Right. The guy could have
5, a 7, a 10,
6,
or jack.
7, 5,
you just
6,
can't take a chance
10
here.
jack. Yeah, you're right.
You got to raise.
I think you're right.
I think he's put Lewis's hand nearly face up here. He says, well, the guy's going to, he's going to bet the flop if I check it to him, and I'm going to be able to raise him. It's just everything is clicking.
Well, he's raised
for
at
Sam
28,000, and this will definitely be a getaway hand for Lewis. Yeah, he's going to give it up. Just a matter of time, but you know it was going in the muck.
Click and Trickett. Wow. He is
chopping up. Sam Trickett just crushing it.
I got into poker, my friends got me into poker because they're all gamble. I always gambled on fruit machines and stuff like that. I've always loved to gamble just on stupid stuff. I'm always prop betting and stuff like that. But I got into poker just for that reason, because it was always going to find me if I was a gambler. Obviously it's really good. It's like a really good life. I couldn't wish for much more, to be honest. But like, you do miss things. Like, I used to work 9 till 5 standard like as a gas engineer, and like on the Friday when you finish work or there's a few hours left of the day, you got this real big buzz, you're ready for the weekend, and you're just driving home and the music was on, and I was like getting that buzz that you get, and getting even just like Lions, you appreciate Lions a bit more when you're working. But like now, it's just like every day's pretty similar, as in the fact where you wake up at a certain time and you're going to play poker at some stage of the day, and so it can be a bit like repetitive and sometimes like that, but because it's so flexible we can just have breaks, so I couldn't wish for anything else really than what I'm doing right now.
Welcome back. I'm here with two of the greatest in the game, Sexton and Laak.
I'm going to nickname John Duthie Minefield.
Yes.
You know, he's always going through the minefield where it can blow up at any second.
Yep. Well, you're right, Mike, but as I say, he is starting to increase a little bit. And Juha, when you look at this lineup, you know, where is Juha going to get the easy double up? Where is he going to steal the blinds? It's right now getting harder and harder for him. Whereas Duthie, you can kind of see the wheels grinding back to par.
Action over to Lewis. Now Trickett has raised it right up front again with the Queen-9 offsuit and the minimum raise once again.
This is one tough final table. This is some tough lineup. I mean.
A lot of talent here. Just making the call with the A7 offsuit. And the 7 comes right on the flop. A very nice flop.
Yep.
For Toby Lewis here as he's flopped top pair with top kicker. That's the kind of flop that you are going to make a continuation bet with, even though you just have a Queen-9 here. Just wouldn't think the guy's going to call you with junk cards like that when you raised it before the flop. Now I think if you're Toby Lewis.
It's not a strong enough hand to re-raise, though. I think it should be cautious and just call.
I totally disagree.
You would raise with that?
I mean, it's the perfect flop for you. If you're going to call raise before the flop with A7 and come 7 high, you have to raise here. You can't give him a free card to take off to beat you.
Your plan, Mike, is to put a little raise in, and then if you get too much heat, you have to be prepared to give it up.
And what are you going to do if a king, queen, jack, or something like that comes up now?
Check call.
Just like that.
Check.
You're going to call all the way down now?
I would call one street, and then on the river, if he fires again, I would fold. That's what I would do.
I think you're going to face too much pressure here if a couple big cards come up. Well, he got lucky that the guy checked when the king came up, and now he's never getting away from the 2-7.
Yeah, now that the second king makes the A7 that much stronger because
it didn't cost him any money, but he gave his opponent 2 opportunities to outdraw him on the turn and the river. He just got lucky that the guy didn't catch a card to beat him or fire out where he could have beat him.
22.
There's a lot of, it looks like passive play with these sorts of hands.
It is passive play.
But at the same time, they don't want to play the big pots with the way ahead, way behind type hands.
By the way, this might be a call because Sam Trickett could put his opponent on like 3-6, 5-6.
Sam Trickett is now going to raise it.
Yeah.
He has raised on the river here, and he is going to put Lewis to the test.
I think Lewis is calling.
He's not going to fold instantly, is he? He's not. He's going to think about this.
Well, virtually all you can beat is a steal here now with the 2-7.
That's all you can beat. He's just crying inside. It just ultimately shows you how hard it is to deal with aggression when you have less than super durable hands.
You know, it's not the biggest raise in the world. Wow. It looks like it wants to be called. Yeah. Well, what did he? How did you do it?
You have to put your opponent on the king to make that play.
If you made it bigger, I might have folded.
Absolutely no way you can fold that hand unless you think your opponent's got 3 kings. Just amazes me that Trickett had the moxie to raise right there and smell that situation out to take down that pot. But
he saw that it was a thin value bet.
Toby Lewis, in my mind, made several mistakes in that hand.
Meanwhile, Sam is 10,000 away from having 800,000. And Toby's still, you know, decently solid with 491. Juha's still just trickling down poker, 162.
Well, the goggles come down.
The goggles come down.
14,000.
Well, we're very close to the end of this level. Now, when the blinds go 5 and 10, Juha's only going to have 15 big blinds. Right now, he's got about 25. But he's in a very precarious position, I think, where, you know, you say that this 25,000, that doesn't really matter for him right now.
Here's a case where Timoshenko come over the top, he'd have folded.
Right.
If Duthie comes over the top, he's guaranteed going to play with the king 10.
Yep.
Good point.
Cool.
Very good point.
And with Trickett, you don't know what he's going to do. Trickett has the better hand. He's got king jack of hearts against Helppi's king 10 offsuit. And the flop comes jack, jack 8.
That's about as...
I mean, how good is this guy running too?
Well, I think in Juha's mind, you know, he's got he can still invest 20,000 more or something like that. And basically, when the blinds go up, he's still going to have that one big move.
Well, you're right. He's made the continuation bet.
This hand is way too strong to raise.
Now, notice what he's bet, though. He's only bet 12,000 into a pot that's got 43,000 in it.
It's not even a tickle, it's a trickle.
Now, Trickett's going to raise it. Helppi's going to be done with it. The jig's up.
What I love is, and I think Trickett, the same as Toby Lewis with the 4 queens. They've gotten, they're so
Helppi called.
Yeah, because they're so deceptive with their big hands, Phil. They play them in such a way.
But Helppi called. He's planning on just taking it. He thinks he's up. He's against air or something.
Exactly.
He's trying to represent a jack. He's trying to represent what Trickett has.
You can beat nothing here but a stone bluff out of Trickett, even though you have nothing yourself.
Well, Juha might think that he's going to get a chance to make a bluff, and Trickett's going to give up the pot. I mean, if you're Trickett with air, you're not exactly thinking that Juha has nothing here, are you?
No.
Wow.
That's why you lead out and bet again. The guy called you raise before.
Right.
I'd have bet there too if I'd have been Trickett.
Yep.
He's going to take down the pot.
It's a pretty thin line that the guy's going to call without a hand, where he's going to call again with, Right. So against the range of what the guy's doing there, calling, you got to bet, I think,
Yeah.
But you could easily think that Juha would have had ace-8 in that situation, something like that, where he's going to keep paying you off.
Yep.
Pass. Pass.
Right. And Juha's in trouble. He now knows the blinds are going up very shortly.
Duthie could be in trouble because on the button here, if he has a weak enough hand, he might raise. Uh-oh, this is bad news.
Well, he'll know that Juha is going to be shoving a ton of hands here. I mean,
see, opposite man, the dangerous thing is if he's got a bad hand, he could just do
I'm so surprised. Oh, look, Sam's got queens.
Yeah.
Bad timing for opposite man.
Well, it'd be hard for John to lose more than 15,000 here, wouldn't it?
Right, that's the good news. But Sam is actually strong enough that he might want to just check. I mean, call and then.
Right, and see if Juha pushes.
No,
Juha would have to push a lot of hands.
Re-raise.
He raised.
40,000.
You're going to re-raise here. You want to shut out the big blind, number one. Well, Juha Helppi might go with this hand, but he opts to lay it down. For sure, he would have gone with it just against Duthie.
And a call.
Oh my gosh!
Now Duthie's moved all in, and he'll be moving all out in 5th place unless he gets very lucky here.
Bloody hell. Have you ever not had a hand?
Have the nuts every round. Wait till you see the hands, mate.
I've never.
Oh, poor Duthie.
I'm going to outdraw you there.
Well, he
Become 6, 7, 8.
he did it so quick,
All
and
diamonds.
he's in terrible trouble. Terrible trouble.
Well,
Got any bleeding
it's
out.
amazing how much money Duthie's lost on these Garfunkel hands.
Just don't play the Garfunkels, boys.
He's going to have to catch 2 runners to win it. Nothing he can catch now to do it. John Duthie going to be our 5th place finisher, so as much fun as he is to watch, we won't be seeing him anymore today.
That's terrible.
Told you. Card rack.
A little part of me
You are
died.
bleeding card rack.
I'm card rack. I swear.
Yeah, Mr. Big is bounced out. Wow, we're 4-handed at this final table. One of the legends of British poker, John Duthie, taking $25,000, and just not his day.
We've lost John Duthie. Just a badly timed move in terms of running into the top of Sam's range there, I would think.
Yeah, one of many badly timed moves today, but I never really got going, and I think when you don't get going like that, funny enough, I felt I was starting to settle in a little bit there. I think maybe I could have waited a little bit longer. I still had a very playable stack. I had a couple of 100,000. So unfortunately, he's got one of the top 3 hands, and he's got a call, and I didn't get lucky, sadly.
All Sam Trickett. He has crossed the 1 million mark, and over half the chips in play now, 4 ways. Timoshenko and Toby Lewis scrapping, and who's this Juha Helppi? No chips.
The heat is rising and the pressure building as we steam to a close with our final table. Join us next time for the last installment of the Party Poker World Open VI as we find out who will take home the $200,000 top prize and be crowned a new champion here at the Palm Beach Casino in London.
My plan is foiled.
There's not actually a better card for me than that, though.
Hated that 6.
You wish and you shall receive.
Someone 3-bet so I can get that spot.
How'd you always have it, Sam?
I was thinking about doing something stupid.